All right, boys and girls, it's time for the Magic Treehouse. Midnight on the Moon. Remember when we left Jack and Annie, they had just looked at a book that they thought they were going to maybe a space dome, because they certainly didn't have the equipment to go to the moon. Let's see where they end up. Space Hotel. Jack opened his eyes. He looked out the window. The treehouse had landed inside a large, white room. "What kind of training place is this?" asked Annie. "I don't know," said Jack. The room was round. It had no windows. It had white floors and curved walls lit by bright lights. "Hello?" Annie called. There was no answer. Where were all the astronauts and space scientists? Jack wondered. "There's nobody here," said Annie. "How do you know?" said Jack. "I just feel it," said Annie. "We'd better find out where we are," said Jack. He looked at the page in the moon book. He read the words below the picture of the dome. A moon base was built on the moon in the year 2031. 2031? The top of the dome slides open to let spacecrafts enter and leave. "Oh, man," whispered Jack. "What's wrong?" said Annie. Jack's heart pounded with excitement. He could hardly speak. "We've landed inside a moon base," he said. "So?" said Annie. "So the moon base is on the moon," said Jack. Annie's eyes widened. "We're on the moon?" she asked. Jack nodded. "The book says the moon base was built in the year 2013, he said. "So this book is after that? Which means this book is from the future?" "From the future?" "Oh, wow," said Annie. "Morgan must have gone forward in time to borrow it from a future library." "Right," said Jack, "and now we're in the future on the moon." Squeak, squeak. Annie and Jack looked at Peanut. The mouse was running around in circles. "Poor Peanut," said Annie. She tried to pick the mouse up, but Peanut hid behind the mango on the letter M. "Maybe she's nervous about being on the moon," said Annie. "She's not the only one," said Jack. He let out a deep breath. Then he pushed his glasses into place. "So, what's a moon base?" asked Annie. Jack looked at the book. He read out loud, "When scientists visit the moon for short periods, they eat and sleep in the moon base." "A space motel," said Annie. "I guess," said Jack. He read more. "The small base has a landing chamber and a room for strong space suits." Strong. That was the wrong word. If we look at the word, if you look here, yeah, not strong, because strong would be S-T-R. And it's not that. It's S-T-O-R. So, storing spacesuits. Yes, that's the word. Storing spacesuits. Good thing I had my reading strategies to help me figure that out. Air and temperature controls make breathing possible. "So, that's why we can breathe," Jack said. "Let's explore." said Annie. We have to find the fourth thing for Morgan. No, first we should study this map, said Jack. He pulled out his notebook. You study it, said Annie. Jack copied the map. Then he drew it in the treehouse. See? Right there's the treehouse in the map now, because it landed right in the middle of this dome. Okay, he said. He pointed at the X in his drawing. We're here. Jack looked up. Annie was gone. Oh, brother, Jack said. As usual, she had left without him before they could even make a plan. Jack put the moon book and pencil into his pack. Carrying his notebook and backpack, he started out the window. Squeak, squeak. Jack looked at Peanut. The mouse was running back and forth on the M. Stay here and be safe, said Jack. We'll be back soon. Jack swung himself over the windowsill. His feet touched the floor and the landing chamber. Annie, he called. There was no answer. Jack looked at his diagram. It should only go one way. Jack walked along the curved white wall to the stairs. He climbed the steps to a hallway. Jack, hurry! Annie was at the end of the hallway, standing in the airlock. She peered out the window in a giant door. Jack hurried towards her. Annie stepped aside so he could look out the window too. Oh man, said Jack. What he was looking at took his breath away. He stared at a rocky gray land. The land was filled with giant craters and tall mountains. The sun was shining, but the sky was black as pen ink. Say hi to the moon, Annie said softly. The end. Midnight on the moon. All right, boys and girls, I want you to think about what we just read, and I want you to think what your message could be. What might you write? I'm thinking about, this is what I'm thinking about. I'm going to draw a circle and a rectangle. I think there's going to be a lever on that. See what I drew? Anybody guess what that is? That's the door that had the big window that Annie looked out. So then I can also draw Jack and Annie, right? As they looked out this huge door. And Jack with his glasses. And Annie with her pigtails. I'm going to leave up the message to you. I want to see 2 good sentences about what we just heard about in this story. I want you thinking about what we've come to know, that now that they're on the moon in the future, and think about what's going to happen as they stand at the door. I want you thinking about that till we read chapter 3. See if you can make a prediction maybe on the back of your paper after you write your 2 good sentences about your picture. Maybe make that prediction on the back of your paper, thinking about what is going to happen in chapter 3. So 2 sentences on the front about your picture, 1 sentence on the back about what might happen in chapter 3. All right, till chapter 3. Thank you, boys and girls.